You want to know a fun fact?
Yes, is this part of our show?
Yeah, at
This
this point,
fun
it pretty much
fact?
is. I got
Okay.
it. I got the
Oh, is
new
it
one.
good? Is it good?
It's yeah, I like it. It's not like sour or anything. I don't know what you'd expect, but it does taste sweet. Like it reminds me of a Bang.
Okay. Well, bangs taste good. I don't like
Yeah,
them very much, but they taste good.
they taste good. It's just it's sweet.
Oh, well, I'll have to go get one of those after the show, even though I have a cherry limeade.
Good choice.
We need to get sponsored.
I follow them, and pretty much every single one of their like posts that are, like they retweet or whatever the hell they repost, I guess, it's just pe people who worked out and were like, "Oh wow, I can't work out without this." So us
Okay.
being like sitting here being like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Well, I guess we could start every show by being like, what a great workout. Thanks to rain. Really fuels the mornings. Good morning. It's
Yeah,
Rand and Rhys. We're talking about movies, post workout, post rain. Here we go. And
yeah,
then we
and
just start.
that's our intro. That was good.
That was good. Once we have a genuinely good intro, I think I mentioned this to you, but I can put it into the podcast platform and it just puts it in automatically.
That is really nice.
Same with outros. So we have to get good at intros and outros, or just I can improvise one every time.
Should I use ChatGPT to make one?
Yeah, do that real quick. Do you have it on
Okay.
hand?
Always.
Good.
It helps. It helps a lot with debugging.
Oh yeah, I remember that makes sense. Have you
Yeah.
heard about the new AI thing? The video
Which?
one
Oh
called like
yeah.
Sora, I think. Yeah, that's
I
gonna
just saw
be
a post about it.
a
I don't
mess.
know.
That's not the other day in my when I was teaching philosophy, obviously. Do you think people realize that I'm joking?
Well, you're not though.
I know, but like do you think people think that I'm joking?
If they could see us during when we're t talking about it, maybe
Yeah, maybe.
I every single time I'll like crack a smile and or
Yeah.
like chuckle or something. But
And you
I
hold up
think
a sign that says joke. So that's how I know when you're joking or when I've made a joke. It's the only
yeah,
way I can
it's
tell.
instead of having a laugh track, we just have that to make the other
Yeah.
person laugh whenever.
But the other day I had to do something. I had to write something regarding whether AI could ever whether AI is art and if it can replace art.
Hmm.
And what I said, it was like a community discussion thing that was like aggregated at the end into one giant kind of someone just summarized what everyone's point was. And I was the only one who said that it could replace art, even though I don't believe that it should, nor did I even say that AI was art. I just said like in the like nebulous sense of art, if like
Hmm.
you don't like conceptualize it as anything aside from like art, like the generic sense of like, oh well, this is a painting, this is a movie,
Hmm.
things like that, then yeah, it could, because that's what it does. It just takes things from the past and then creates it into something new. But yeah, and then we have a new AI that can create live action movies. I want to
Yeah.
clarify to everyone out there, if anyone's out there, after I said that AI could be art. I don't think it is. I think AI can only like make an approximation of art because it has to go based off something else.
Yeah, we can't prove it actually knows how to do the drawing. It is simply taking stuff from its experience and
Yeah.
extrapolating it.
Like you could ask an AI, and I said this in my writing. I was like, you can ask an AI to create a Marvel movie in the voice of Shakespeare, and it could do that. But that doesn't mean
It'll
it's
make Madam
anything.
Web.
It would make Madam Web. It doesn't mean that it would make anything aside from like a novelty. It lacks the human emotion behind anything. So
Yeah,
you'd watch it and be like, oh, this is actually like interesting, but it's not compelling or anything.
hmm. Like
But
you said, it could replace art, but that doesn't mean it should or
yeah, and I think it
necessarily will, because they're putting
could.
restrictions on it, I
Yeah, I
think.
think the only way, not the only way, the way that it is going right now, and we're not we, the industries, the artistic industries are fighting against this, but AI could replace art solely because it's cheaper, and
Hmm.
people like studios are gonna be like, well, we can just use AI to write scripts now. Doesn't mean that it's going to be better or worse, and they won't, if they make one of those and it makes $20 billion, they're going to keep doing that. So
Yeah,
like it's
so
not.
don't see it if they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the I think it would replace art in the sense that corporations that create art, I guess, well, corporations that fund creatives to make art
Hmm.
might use it as a way to just pump out new content constantly.
I mean, it
Because
already happened with Secret Invasion.
was that made with AI?
The theme intro thingy, yeah, that's AI.
Okay, well, I mean that
Remember how weirdly just generated it seemed? Like it's just a bunch of
it did.
green
It
shit.
seemed strange. I mean, I
Yeah,
thought it was. I didn't realize it was AI, but that makes sense. That's
yeah,
good. Did you know that on our channel, by which I mean my channel that you're roped into,
nice.
someone with 13,000 subscribers has been commenting on our stuff?
Have they said, "Hey, I'm gonna shout you guys out yet"?
No, but he did say I don't know. I think it was on the Secret Invasion video.
Hmm.
He said something like, "I love y'all. I love your dynamic." And I thought it was just some random dude, and I just responded with, "Yeah, we've worked really hard on it.
Yeah, it took years to
Took
perfect.
400 years." And then
Yeah.
on that same video, friend of the show Dustin commented like, "Oh, I didn't dislike the TV show that much." And this same guy responded to him saying, "You're in denial."
Yeah,
So
I couldn't even finish the show, but
we need to do a crossover. His name is like, I'm
yeah.
gonna pull it up. I'm gonna shout this guy out, Edgar Ramirez, maybe. I don't actually
Okay.
remember. It's some I checked. I didn't watch much of his stuff. I just looked to see like what he does. It's similar to what we do. He does silly movies and he talks about like comics. But what he does
Mhm.
is, I think our dynamic is I tell you about it and you react to it. He just kind of he does like a silly, funny summary
Mhm.
of the movies.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it again? I'll try to check it out.
Hold on. Oh no, it's Edward Rabbit.
Edward Rabbit.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then his actual name is Edward Rigby. What did I say? Edgar
uh,
Ramirez?
yeah,
Who
you
is
said
that?
Ramirez.
I think Edgar Ramirez is someone.
Did you say Edward Rabbit
Yeah.
or okay, Edward Rabbit.
Oh yeah, Edgar Ramirez is a Venezuelan actor. Why do I know him though? I don't know. I don't think I've seen any of his movies, but I probably have, or I've been looking at him late at night.
Oh shit. I don't know. It's nothing's coming up.
Would you look up?
I looked up Edward Rabbit
Yeah.
and then Edgar Rabbit, and neither times was there a channel. The second time
Really?
there was a video called Edgar my R word rabbit.
Oh.
And then Edward Rabbit was a bunch of like music videos.
Well, he's got 13,000 subscribers, 86 videos. I don't know. I'm gonna give him a shout out because he's supporting us. I don't actually know what he like. I haven't watched much of his stuff, so I don't know if he's like a yeah.
So you should give me the
He
ability to screen share.
narrates comic books. Can I do that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, multiple participants can share screen simultaneously. You should be able to. Oh,
It's our intro.
beautiful. Okay, you ready?
You want to be the voiceover, or do you want me to be the
I got it.
voiceover?
I got it.
Okay, okay.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh shit, this is like a actual script. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to Rand and Rhys in the Morning, your go-to podcast for lively discussions, laughter, and a fresh start to your day. Hey there, early birds. I'm Rand.
And I'm Rhys.
And together, we're here to kickstart your mornings with a blend of humor, insights, and a whole lot of fun.
That's right. Whether you're commuting, sipping your morning coffee, or just easing into your day, we've got you covered with engaging conversations on everything from pop culture to politics and everything in between.
So grab your favorite mug, settle in, and let's dive into today's episode of Rand and Rhys in the Morning. Music fades in briefly. Na 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 na. Get ready to laugh, think, and start your day right. This is Rand and Rhys in the Morning. All right, we gotta do this together. Ready? Let's do
Let's do
this.
this.
Nailed it.
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Oh my God, that was good. Should we make that
Yeah.
let's make that a real one. I'm gonna put that in. Well, I'm gonna leave it in
Sick.
obviously, but I'm gonna put it in every episode. Anyway, any Reese to For You pages today?
No, I feel like I'm letting
Good.
the team down.
You are. We should just do that segment's dead. Rest
Damn.
in peace.
I'm
In
sorry. It's just absurdity now. It's less like memes and it's more just random ass videos that are just funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both agree that absurdity's hilarious though. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain, like verbally narrate over a podcast though. To be like, yeah, and then
The dog fell off the slide. It was great.
the dog fell off the slide into a box, and the box got shipped to New Zealand. And at New Zealand
Yeah.
was Brett from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Or I have a video of a bunch of dogs wearing penguin costumes and they're just staring at each other.
You say penguin like Benedict Cumberbatch?
Not intentionally.
Oh, did you know he can't say penguin?
Yeah, I know he says penguin. I didn't mean to say penguin. I do say penguins, but
We can say penguin. How's
yeah.
your week been? What have you been watching? What have you been reading? What have you been looking at?
I've been binging Fargo still. I slowed down a little bit because I didn't like season 4 as much, but I
Oh,
just
I
finished
was
it last
actually
night and started
uh
season 5
I started Fargo, everybody. I've seen the first 3 episodes like
again.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't finished season 1 yet, but I was looking at like IMDb for Fargo, and like the top review was like some of the best TV you'll ever seen except for season 4. So I was gonna ask you, had you gotten to that point yet? And was
Yeah,
it as
no,
bad as they say?
it's not bad. I think it's one of those situations where in a vacuum it'd be much better appreciated, but the fact that it's in the series of Fargo, where the first 2 seasons are almost perfect. The alien shit's weird. I told you about that.
No, that sounds great though.
Season 3 is good. It took me a little bit longer to get into, but it ends amazingly. And then season
Okay.
4 just
Who's
was
in season
weird.
4? Is that the Chris Rock season?
Yes, the Chris Rock season. And he like Chris
Okay.
Rock is good. There are a bunch of good interesting characters, which is a big strong suit for Fargo, but I feel like it just doesn't tie together as well as the other seasons.
I didn't realize that they were actually gonna tie it in with the movie. Like
Yeah,
when I
I
was
haven't
watching
seen the
season
movie, so I
one.
didn't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't quote me on this unless you're the New York Times. Then go ahead. You have to actually. But they mentioned like a crime syndicate in Fargo, and I thought, oh, that's
Hmm.
like a fun nod. But then the grocery store owner who really likes God, or who's scared of God in the first season. Billy Bob Thornton teams up with Dennis from It's Always Sunny to like take his money. Do you remember that?
Yes, 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 yes. I
Okay.
forgot he was a grocery store owner, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he when we see like a flashback of how he first came into contact with the money, like how he got the money,
Hmm.
he's driving on the highway with his family. They run out of gas. He tries to like flag down a truck, doesn't help. Then he
Hmm.
like goes out into like the snow and finds a bag full of money,
Hmm.
which was how Fargo ended. Like
Oh.
that movie hinged on like a bunch of money was missing and the crime syndicate was trying to find it. The cops were like trying to figure out what's going on. And then someone, can't remember who, buried the money at this random place along the highway. And this guy found it. And I thought, oh,
Oh,
that's fun.
that is really
Unless I'm
cool.
completely wrong. Maybe none of that happened. Maybe I'm thinking of a different
I'll
movie.
watch the movie when I'm done with season five in a weird retroactive way, and then not remember how it connects because I've
This
forgotten how the seasons
this
go.
might be heresy, but I didn't think the Fargo movie was that good. Like it's good, but I think the show's better.
Okay, yeah, I can't speak for that, but like season one is phenomenal. It might be my favorite first season of any show.
But have you seen the first season of Two and a Half Men?
Yeah, you got me there. Okay,
Yeah.
besides Two and a Half Men, it is the
Everyone at
best first
home,
season.
he is not holding up the sign that says joke.
I'm not.
This is sincere. What was I gonna say? And then I thought to myself, like, do I not like the Coen brothers? Because they directed Fargo. But then
Yeah.
I was like, but I love what's that movie called?
Oh,
How am I
brother, where art
forgetting
thou?
this? I don't know if I've actually seen that whole thing.
Oh, that one goes. It's so good. I almost
It
said
goes
goes hard.
hard.
It's such a good movie. I didn't realize the one song they sing in it was a cover. I just loved it.
What's the one with Anton Sugar? The guy with one of
Oh,
those
No Country
cow.
for Old Men.
Yeah, that one is goddamn
That one's
incredible.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the ending of that movie? Spoiler alert, everybody, if you haven't seen that movie from like 2001,
Um,
how Anton Sugar just gets hit by a car.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I can't picture how I was in the moment.
Because I
But
remember thinking like, what a great movie, what a great ending, and then he gets hit by a car, and I was like, what? Because he gets hit by like not even like a character we know. He just gets hit by a random car in the street, and then he just gets up and limps away. And I was like, what the?
oh, so he's alive. It doesn't even kill him.
Yeah, I think he's alive, or he might die later on. But I think he just gets hit. And I looked into it, and I believe what they were going for there is that in that universe, that cinematic world,
Hmm.
he's not like he is the villain, obviously, but he's not the driving force of the plot.
Hmm.
Like it's just the fact that the world is chaotic and he's just a product of that and he exists within it and he like exploits it. He takes advantage of it. He's a part of the chaotic world where nothing goes right for anyone. So at the
Hmm.
end, he gets hit by a car to be like, yeah, the world itself is what's fucking over everyone.
I don't think that's clear enough by just a car hitting him.
No, I didn't think so either. But
Yeah.
like after hearing the explanation, it's one of those like retroactive explanations that you can kind of be like, oh, that's kind of cool, but
Yeah.
doesn't
Regardless, though,
make yeah.
great movie.
So maybe I don't like the Coen brothers, maybe I do, but I think I do.
Yeah, the stuff I've seen of theirs has been really good, and I'll see if I like Fargo.
Have you seen Burn After Reading? I think that's
No.
them. It's great. It's like a action crime comedy, which is kind of what they always do. Not always, but like one of their strong suits is doing like a crime narrative that's funny.
Hmm.
And in that movie, there's one scene with Brad Pitt that I think is the funniest thing in the world. But
Okay, I'll
I'm not gonna tell
try
you
to
what
check
it
that
is.
out.
Yeah.
Does he turn himself into a pickle?
No, I can tell you what happens if you want. It's not real. It's kind of a spoiler, but
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
I don't think you will.
What's it called? Burn
Burn
after
After
reading?
Reading? Yeah,
Yeah, I remember the title. That's a good sign.
that is a good sign. It's got a great cast. It's got Frances McDormand, who's in
Ooh,
a lot of their
stuff.
movies. She's in the Fargo movie. It's got George Clooney. It's got Bradley Pittery. I think what's his face, the guy who people like to do impressions of. He's in it, maybe.
Oh, with kind of the raspy voice.
Yeah, I think so. Are you looking it up?
No, I was cueing them.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, today we're going to be talking. That's not how I emphasize that in a strange way, don't you think? Don't you think, Reese? Defer?
I am, so I must think.
I was in a class and I was teaching a class and I asked, what is Immanuel Kant famous for saying? And someone went, I think, therefore I am. And then the entire class laughed him out. The entire class laughed that guy out of the room.
They got kicked out.
You think
He's
that
clearly,
Kant said that? I think that's Descartes.
haha. What
What a
did Kant say?
goddamn fool.
What's his thing?
Uh, I'm not going to get the quote exactly right, but it was something like Hume awakened me from my dogmatic slumber because Kant's big thing is
That
a
that
response
goes
to
hard.
it was what a quote, am I right? But Hume's or Kant's big thing was he not entirely, but in part he was a response to David Hume, and Hume was trying to he staked the claim that cause and effect is an entirely human feature that we can't
Mm,
physically using our senses look at cause and effect. We can't see the connection between cause and effect. And if that's the case, then we're done. Like humanity, like that's just the extent of what we can do.
hmm
So like science, like we can't actually rely on it, things like that. And Kant was like, Hume awakened me from my dogmatic slumber. And then he was like, fucking, there must be a way that
hmm
like cause and effect are like visibly and like you can prove that they're related to one another.
Did this man invent statistics?
Kant?
Yeah,
No. I don't know who invented statistics. Probably
I assume it wasn't
Gregory
Kant, but that Gregory
Gregory's
Alan Isakov.
yeah, Gregory Alan Isakov. All right, today, after much deliberation, we're going to be talking about a few things, mainly Deadpool and Wolverine, the
Ooh.
trailer. I am currently working on a trailer breakdown sort of thing. It's not going to be like that extensive, but maybe it'll be fun. We don't know. I don't know yet. I've thought about it a lot. I haven't actually sat down to do it. And we might talk a little bit about Madam Web.
Mm,
Two great things that have happened in the past week.
yeah,
But
with about the same amount of content in both.
should we claim that you are that was a good one actually. Not actually as in I expected it not to be good, but yeah, I didn't expect you to come up with something such a great zinger.
I'm good at those.
Yeah. Should
I'm
we
a top tier singer.
stake the claim that you're the biggest Deadpool fan in the world?
I mean, it's
So
probably not true, but I love Deadpool.
so that we can have people like try like challenging you to like Deadpool trivia. But yeah, you
And I'll get destroyed because
yeah,
I've read like one comic.
Rhys is a big Deadpool fan. I believe we didn't see the second one together because you were at a karate tournament, but
hmm
we saw the first one. It was great. I liked it a
It
lot.
was great.
Second one, I don't know if it's better or not. I remember thinking like that was probably better, but then someone pointed out like, yeah, but it was pretty boring for the first third of the movie, and I was like, you're kind of right. But
I'd say they're on par, which is
yeah,
very interesting. Like they did a good job.
so we have Deadpool's first foray into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Deadpool points out to the world and looks directly at the camera and says Disney. So we know that he knows he's in a Disney movie now.
And
What did you think?
he doesn't like it.
Yeah, general thoughts of the trailer, Deadpool and Wolverine. You've only seen it
Um,
once.
yeah, I've only seen it once. It was, I think, last Sunday. So after it had come out, I just stumbled back into my apartment and was like, all right, I'm gonna watch this.
Stumbled back in.
Yeah. That sounds like I was drunk. I was not
I know. I
drunk.
was like,
I
it sounds like you're drunk walking in. You're like, I have to watch Deadpool, which is,
yeah,
I
no.
think, the
I
drunkest
just
thing to ever do.
I just coded for like 7 hours, so I was really out of it.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was my in my head stumbling. But it was really good. I asked you one thing because I don't remember the end credits for Deadpool 2. Or I remember some stuff about it.
Yeah.
But I was confused why Morena Baccarin,
Yeah. That's her name.
yeah, why she was still
Vanessa.
alive.
Is that her name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa Hudgens. No,
Yeah.
but I was confused why she was still alive because all I remembered was they didn't like she was like don't like your time will come later, and
Yeah.
then he went back in time and did a bunch of stuff, but I didn't remember one of them being saving her,
Yeah. So Deadpool
and
at the
then
end
I
of
was confused why the TVA was there.
yeah, the Deadpool he went back to save his wife, I think the entirety of X-Force, but
Yes, yeah.
they weren't all there at his birthday party. So it was only Peter and I think Shatterstar alongside Colossus, Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, and what was Negasonic's?
Domino? Oh,
No, she
wait,
wasn't
where's
there.
Domino? She's not there. Oh,
No. Yeah, but
I don't
people
remember
think
her name.
maybe Vanisher was there because there's a space. I mean, you could just say he's there; it doesn't make a difference.
hmm
But yeah, the trailer opens on a birthday party, and he says like he's got a wig on, super funny, I guess. It is something he'd do. He's like, "Oh, what an average few years. It's been difficult, but I really love you guys. Happy birthday to myself." I'm wondering because his girlfriend, wife, whatever, said like he's saying like, oh, it's been a difficult, challenging few years. And then
Hmm.
is her name Vanessa?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I was like, then Vanessa is like, make a wish, buddy. And I'm like, did they break up? I'm
Yeah,
like,
that wasn't very
I wonder if they like
romantic.
broke up, like maybe, shit's not going well for Deadpool, little old Wade. But then I thought about it like there's no way. I mean, there is a way. But in terms of the narrative and the plot of this movie, I can't imagine that it's gonna be a plot point that he got dumped or just didn't
No,
work out with Vanessa.
they cared way too much about each other to
Yeah.
just randomly turn around and be like, they're gone.
What do you think he's been up to for the past couple years? Because we see him working at like a Costco or something. So I wonder
Maybe when he
if
got Vanessa back, he like chose to not be Deadpool anymore, you know?
right, like maybe, yeah, I was wondering like he could have just decided like, well, this is too risky, so I'm not gonna, keep this hectic, crazy lifestyle up.
Hmm.
He probably did. That would be a fun little joke if Deadpool retired because, that's a common trope in superhero movies. Like, oh, Batman's retired again. But instead of retiring and like being like a billionaire, like Playboy,
Yeah,
whatever,
he used to work at
he's
Costco.
working at Costco.
No, I
But
was
yeah, oh, go
no,
ahead.
at first, the beginning few minutes of the trailer, I was convinced this was a different Deadpool, and
Because
that
of the hair?
yeah, I think it might have been because of the hair, but I think also because Vanessa was there and stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
and he didn't do the treatment, so he wasn't Deadpool, and he was just dying from cancer.
That's not bad. That could
And then
be,
this was like, yeah, and for whatever reason, he still looked weird though, which was kind of like obviously that doesn't work.
yeah.
But for some reason, that was my first thought, and then it clearly was not true. But
I haven't been watching like Easter egg videos or anything, but I saw part of one where they're looking at the cake that Deadpool is eating, and it's
mhm.
like blue and yellow sorta, and they're like, "This is foreshadowing that Wolverine shows up." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe, but also, who gives it like that?"
We already knew that.
Yeah. So after the party, he steps outside, or someone knocks at the door. It's the TVA. It's a different looking TVA, which leads
Yes,
me to my first theory, one of 100,000
Wolverine
theories I
works at
have.
IKEA.
We don't see Mobius. Apparently, they
Hmm.
wanted to get Mobius, but they decided to go with the guy from Succession, who might be playing this character called like Mr. Paradox, who is an older version of Mobius, which
Yeah,
could be the case, but also he doesn't look anything like Owen Wilson. Could just be like a
that's
variant
what they want
situation.
us to think.
Yeah, but the TVA costumes are different. We see like I don't think we see a single person at the TVA who we know works there from
Hmm.
Loki. So it could be a TVA from like it's a different TVA. And I don't know if that even makes sense
I mean, I
because
guess Mobius at the end of Loki like dipped, didn't he?
oh yeah, he did, didn't he? Or he's
Yeah,
just taking a
him and the
vacation.
one, and but then the one lady took over, didn't she?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But
Okay.
it could be an entirely different TVA. And so it's going to be TVA for the Fox universe versus the TVA of the MCU,
Mm.
even though they're combining in this. But that could be like one of the conflicts in Secret Wars and or Avengers 5. But yeah, we see him at the TVA. He calls himself Marvel Jesus. You had the theory, and this is great, that the reason he's Marvel Jesus slash super important for the TVA is because he can break the fourth wall. So they're like, oh,
Oh,
this guy.
yeah.
Hey, you said that. You don't remember that?
No, I did. I just couldn't remember when you said I had
Yeah.
the theory, and I was like, wait a minute.
So like he would have an advantage just inherently over the whole situation because he knows what's going on in a to a level that most other people aside from She-Hulk
Hmm.
don't. So that might be a plot point. And then we see like people have been theorizing, like when he goes to like that desert looking Mad Max
Hmm. Yeah,
landscape.
yeah.
People are like, oh, that's Battle World. But I'm pretty sure it's just the place that you go when you get pruned by the TVA.
No, like it's the land after time or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called. The Land Before Time. The dinosaur
The
movie.
land before time. Yeah,
But I
that's
feel
where
like,
I don't remember that. I remember it being like really bright and stuff, and in that sense, it wouldn't have been.
right. Well, I don't know, but we see a 20th Century Fox logo like buried into the earth. So like, why would that be
Oh,
on Battle World?
that's so funny.
Yeah, very meta. And at one point, someone gets a TVA agent, one of the, what are they called? Timekeepers? They have a name.
Agents.
Yeah, the time agents.
Yeah,
One of them gets like
the
snatched
watches.
by, yeah, one of them gets snatched by like something that we buried, like a blur, like a purple blur. And Deadpool's like, Jesus.
Quicksilver. Oh,
No, it's like giant. And I'm like, it could be whatever that monster was
oh
in
yeah.
Loki. But I don't know if that was purple. Can't
It was
remember.
purple, I
Yeah, it
think.
probably is. there's a scene with a guy who it's like a Mad Max world. People are driving around
Hmm.
fighting each other, which is again might suggest that it's battle world. But there's a guy who is on a truck and he like pulls around like a big laser thing. People are like, oh, it's Doctor Doom. It's not Doctor Doom. I will stake my reputation on this. That's not
That'd be funny then. And I'm gonna quote you there.
good.
Ends up being
But
Doctor Doom, which
it
that would
might
be
be a
crazy,
version of Doctor Doom, like
but it's
Julian
not
McMahon or the other
the
one.
Henry
But
Cavill version.
oh, I hope. But yeah, that we it's a guy and he's got a cloak on and he's got like a metal mask, but it doesn't go all the way up to his like it's not over his entire face. It's like just over the mouth. So I'm like that'd be a weird choice. Like if we're gonna do Doctor Doom, we better fucking see like a good costume
Hmm.
for that character. But yeah, we
Well, if
see
it's if he got pruned into the land after time or whatever,
right.
that'd be he's a mistake, Doctor Doom. You know,
That's true. I think maybe what's so
he had a
the
bad
rumor
costume, and they're like, "Screw this guy,
a
get him out of
rumored
here."
a rumored plot for this movie before the trailer came out was that Deadpool is being tasked with finding the prime versions of every character to create an army to stop whatever the big threat is.
Hmm.
It was Kang, but now it's obviously not. Or it might still be Kang, but it's a different actor,
Hmm.
which is why he's going to see Wolverine. And maybe the prime version of Wolverine was pruned, and that's why he's there. We do see at one point Deadpool is walking through a club or like a bar casino situation, and there's a guy at a table in this like white blazer, and it's a Wolverine from the comics called Patch, I think, which is when he had one eye and he just gambled a bunch.
Oh,
Great look for Wolverine, or great. I haven't read the comic, but it like the cover of the comic is great.
okay.
So that might be like he's trying to find the prime version of Wolverine, and he's going to different universes, and that's one of them.
Hmm.
It could be like it could not be Hugh Jackman because we don't see this Wolverine's face. It could be like
Tom Cruise.
could be Tom Cruise as Wolverine.
Hmm.
Uh,
Who else was potentially Wolverine?
uh, Daniel Radcliffe,
Ah, I would love that.
Taron Egerton. Back
I'd be
in
okay with that.
Yeah, back in 2000, the other names were Russell Crowe, I think Mel Gibson,
No.
one guy who got the role but dropped out to do, I think, Mission Impossible 3. Wasn't Tom Cruise, but
Oh,
can't
how do you
remember his
know?
oh, Dougray Scott was his name.
Do who's Grace Scott?
Doug Zinger. But yeah, he was almost Wolverine. He dropped out, and at one point, Hugh Jackman ran into him like on the street and just apologized for stealing his career because no one knows the name Dougray Scott,
No.
but everyone knows who Hugh Jackman is. And I'm pretty sure this is the guy who said this, but one of the people who were almost Wolverine before Hugh Jackman got it made a statement saying, "I was almost Wolverine, and if I was," he's quoted with saying, by the way, this is not me.
Mhm.
He's quoted with saying, "I would have played the role less gay." So I hope it's not him in this movie because he doesn't deserve that.
So he's saying Hugh Jackman played it gay?
I
What
guess.
does that even
I
mean?
don't even, yeah, what does that
I feel like
mean?
we see Wolverine making out with guys. That's really the only only thing that would do that, I feel like.
What do you think of the name Deadpool and Wolverine? I think it's like really smart that they decided to go with that.
Yeah, I guess it does show that he's a main focus too.
Yeah, and in terms of like getting people to go see this, like name recognition of those two characters is so great that even if you have no idea what's going on,
Mhm.
that you might see that and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go check that out."
They should
Because
have made it a ship name, like Deadverine,
Deadverine, Wolverpool,
Deadverine,
Wol
Wolverpool. That'll be
uh,
their kids' names.
I'm glad they didn't go with Deadpool 3. I mean, it would have been fine, would have made sense, obviously,
What
but
if it was Deadpool 3 colon Wolverine?
colon Wolverine's colon and but yeah, but if you do Deadpool
Do Grace
3,
Scott.
do Gray Scott. If you called it Deadpool 3, people would still go see it, obviously, because the first
Mhm.
two did very well. Everyone knows the first two for the most part. But I think some people might just be hesitant because we're all kind of tired of seeing sequels. So Deadpool and Wolverine makes it
Yeah.
seem more fresh and like unique.
Yeah.
One of the rumored titles was Deadpool and Friend, which would have been very funny. Would have been very funny,
Oh,
but
that is
wouldn't
hilarious.
have, marketing wise, wouldn't have been as strong as if it was just called Deadpool and Wolverine.
No, I guarantee
Uh,
you people would theorize who the friend is, even knowing full well
yeah,
that it's Wolverine.
to be like, oh well, it's a red herring, it's a misdirect. It might actually be Dougray
She-Hulk.
Scott.
Do Grace Scott.
Yeah, back in Deadpool 2 time, 2018 or whatever, there
Oh
was a
wow.
room before that movie had a trailer. It was just listed as Untitled Deadpool sequel, and I
Hmm.
wish they did that because that'd be really funny. Just call it Untitled Deadpool sequel. Do you think She-Hulk will show up? I told you the rumor.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense, or the reason that makes sense for that is because she also breaks the fourth wall. I know they have a like kind of relationship, not like well they're like friends, then they're in comics together a lot, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know if
well
I've
then
ever
if that's
seen it.
not true, then this entire sentence was a
Yeah,
waste of time.
that's fine. But
But yeah.
if they do the fourth wall breaking route, then yeah, they could bring her in. There was it was a rumor slash theory slash like leaked plot point,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's true because the only place I've seen it mentioned is in like TikToks of people being like, "Fuck you, She-Hulk," like I hate women.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's why I'm like, I think this was made up. But the rumored leak for the plot was the entire third act focused on She-Hulk and Ryan Reynolds fought so hard against Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy to make sure that that doesn't happen. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up because they have the fourth
Yeah.
wall connection. There is zero chance that Marvel or anyone at Disney was like, no, let's make it centered around She-Hulk out of nowhere. And then
Yeah, let's
Ryan
throw
Reynolds,
in one of our least popular characters right now
yeah.
into our two most popular characters.
And apparently Ryan Reynolds fought so hard because that was the third act that focused on Wolverine. And they wanted to give Wolverine his time to shine.
Mm,
And I'm like, none of this is anything.
no, they.
Yeah.
I doubt She-Hulk will be a central focal point.
No, if she shows up, it'll be a cameo. And that's it.
Hmm.
It's not going to be like Deadpool passes the torch to She-Hulk for the last half of the movie. But what other theories are out there? Have you heard any?
No, I talked about it with my game design teacher. I was like, "Hey, did you see the Deadpool trailer?" And then he said, "Yeah, I'm Marvel Jesus." And I forgot that was a line in the thing, so I thought he was just calling himself Marvel Jesus. So I was like, "Oh, are you now?" And then he was like, "Oh no, that was in the trailer." And I was like, "You're right."
So embarrass yourself.
I did. It was very awkward.
There is so Deadpool gets shown clips from the MCU, like of Avengers and like
Hmm.
Thor Ragnarok, maybe I think, and
Ragnarok.
like Ragnarok, and we see Captain America, and then Deadpool salutes. That's a nod to in the comics that Captain America is like the only person that Deadpool respects,
Hmm.
which is kind
Well,
of
as
how
he
it is for
should.
yeah, that's kind of how every like anti-hero slash morally gray-ish character like respects Captain, like the Punisher respects Captain America.
Hmm.
Deadpool does. Yeah, so I don't know what the plot necessarily is going to be. If it is him going around getting all the main characters, then I think he's just going to end up with Wolverine.
Yeah, do you think he's gonna get like Tony Stark?
No.
I
I
hope
think
not.
he's I think his universe or wherever he's allowed to jump around to, I think it's going to be limited to the Fox movies.
That would
I
be
think
good. I think
I
it's
think
better to
maybe
focus on
there's
them.
going to be yeah, and so we're going to see the rumor is and it might have been confirmed but like Jennifer Garner's Elektra's in it.
Hmm.
We see Pyro from X-Men 2 and 3 in it on like that battle world or like Land After Time situation.
Hmm.
But
I saw a poster that had Jubilee with Taylor Swift.
I saw the Taylor Swift one.
Is
Or
that
I think it
is
was
that real?
Jubilee
Do you
and
know?
Elektra. I don't know. I
Yeah,
tried to
because I
find
saw
out.
Electra. There's one other person, I forgot who it was, but then
Yeah,
I saw a bunch
I
of people
couldn't remember who
just
the third one is.
shitting on Taylor Swift because they're stupid.
That's good casting.
Yeah, that's very good casting.
It's like it would be like one of the best casting choices in cinematic history if they made I almost said Daredevil, Taylor Swift. How did I almost get Daredevil? If they made Taylor Swift Dazzler.
Oh yeah, Dazzler, not Jubilee.
There is a rumor that there's a lady Deadpool in the movie. And I saw like a
Blake
single frame.
Lively.
I was gonna say make it Blake Lively. That'd be great.
Yeah,
If there is a lady Deadpool, then they could have like a romance because I'm pretty sure in the comics, like Deadpool sometimes has a romance with a lady version of himself.
I'm
And
not
if it's Blake,
surprised.
yeah, and that could be why potentially him and Vanessa broke up just so to make way for another romance. I wonder if like I don't know what was I gonna say, but oh yeah, there's like a single frame screenshot of the trailer, and they're like, these are not the gloves that Deadpool wore in Deadpool 1 and 2. Clearly, they're lady hands. So this is Lady Deadpool. And I was like, it's a different costume. It's always gonna every time they make a new movie or TV show, it's a different costume. It's updated, it's
Hmm.
changed, like even slightly. It always is. I'm not saying that there isn't a Lady Deadpool in the movie.
Yeah, or
But
that might be Lady Deadpool's hands, but that's a terrible reasoning
yeah,
for it.
that's if you're right, that logic is not the reason that you got there. It doesn't explain it.
Yeah, that's
That's
just
just
one of
a
those like
coincidence.
wrong equations, correct answer kind of thing.
Yeah. Who do you think that bald person is? Do you remember the bald person? You
The
see him
bald
from
person?
behind. It's like a
Is it
third of the way through the
Francis? Is he back?
Francis. Oh, maybe. But yeah, you see like the back of a bald person's head could be one of the Professor X's. I was gonna look up because the ears are pretty prominent. There's nothing wrong with having big
Is it
ears.
Spock?
It might be. But I was like, I don't know who this is. I was going to use the ears to find out if it was one of the Professor X's, but I couldn't. So they're like, maybe it's, there's Professor X has a sister in the comics who's also bald. They're like, it's probably her. I'm like, I don't know. It probably isn't.
Yeah, I looked up bald person Deadpool trailer.
Did it come up?
Yeah, I see the picture. I can't tell anything, obviously, but he's in a chair, so that would
Is he
make
in a
sense.
chair? I didn't see the chair.
Unless he's just
Share your screen again.
really, I think that's a chair. Unless he's just broad as hell. Like that's a chair, isn't it? Right here.
Oh, it is a chair. I thought that was his shoulders, but
Yeah, I mean it could be. I could be wrong, but like I want to
I
say that
mean,
that could be a chair.
look up Professor X. I did think I was like, is that a scroll? But look up
I mean, it
Professor
kind of
X
looks like it.
back of that, or Patrick Stewart back of the head.
Patrick
Let's match up those
Stewart
ears.
back of head. There's no. I want to say he's. His ears aren't as pointy, but that could easily
No.
be like CGI or something.
Yeah, it could be the new Professor X, whoever that's gonna be. I don't know.
Let me look
Uh,
up bald people. That were bald
no.
people.
I do wonder
Famous.
if maybe so later in the trailer as well we see
Could be Stanley Tucci.
the Tooch. He's already in the MCU though.
Bring
It
him
could
back.
be look up Giancarlo Esposito back of head.
I think we have another issue with that. Giancarlo Esposito, back of head.
What was I gonna say? At one point later in the trailer, we see
No.
Marvel Legends. The heck?
Huh.
Okay. Is this confirmed? I know he said
I
he
don't
wants
know.
to be Professor X, and I think he'd be great as Professor X. I think he'd nail it. But yeah,
We
later in the
can.
trailer we see Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yeah.
Yeah, later in the trailer we see Deadpool killing TVA agents.
Hmm.
And it could be because like they're trying to stop him from getting a Wolverine or something, but he's like, I gotta do this. If that is the land after time or wherever they go after they get pruned, I imagine Deadpool prunes himself to get in there. And here's a theory, I guess, that could
How do you think
be
pruning works for Deadpool?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Continue your theory.
I was gonna say like if they are doing a Deadpool kills the Fox Marvel universe, there
Mhm.
could be a version of Deadpool that is going around killing the Fox Marvel universe.
Hmm.
And he's killing the TVA and shit, and they get the Wade Wilson that we've seen to stop him or something. Because I'm like I don't know why else he's killing TVA agents. Because if he's working with them, maybe he's not
Mhm.
working with them. Could be another Deadpool. Could be the one from X-Men Origins. And because he's all mad that he never got a sequel, he's going around killing everyone.
Hmm.
But yeah.
My only issue with that is literally the plot of Loki.
Oh shit, you're right.
So like I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that, but that would be just like repurposing it.
That's a good point. Yeah. I don't know.
Because there could be just something where, TVA was lying to him and then he found out the truth or something like that. Or he decided to do something else because
Right.
Deadpool 2 taught him to be a better person,
That's
barely,
true.
just a little bit.
I
And
mean,
then
it
so
could be
he's
the
trying to do
TVA
something else.
hiring him to kill everyone, and then he decides not to because he realizes maybe that by doing this, I'm gonna like dismantle the universe, and then it will then get destroyed, and I live in that universe. The
Mhm.
love of my life, Dopinder, lives in that universe, so he could turn on them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you think it's gonna save Marvel? This movie, people have been asking that.
I don't like that question
Me neither.
because I don't think Marvel is dead.
Dying? No. I think so. This week we got, I think in order, we got the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. A couple days later on Valentine's Day, we got the Fantastic Four casting revealed. And then the next day, I think we got the X-Men 97 trailer. So this
I
has
don't
been a
think I knew that.
week. This has been a week full of Fox Marvel properties.
Mhm.
And if Marvel were smart, which they are, obviously,
They were.
people are getting tired of the MCU. That's not
Mhm.
up for debate, really. Like, maybe you aren't. I'm not. I am getting a little tired, but like, I know if you're not tired of it yet, that's fine. But like, statistically, people are going to see them less. They're not watching as
Mhm.
many. They're not getting as good reviews, things like that. What they should do is completely shift focus to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
build up those characters before doing a crossover
that
or
would
do
be
a
smart.
yeah.
And I think if Deadpool and Wolverine is bad, it has the potential to just single-handedly
Yeah.
kill the Marvel universe, but I don't think if it's good, it'll save it because
No.
we've talked about this before. It keeps like it's playing ping pong. It's going
Yeah.
a kind of mid movie, and everyone's like, it's dead. It's been dead the entire time, and then a really good movie, and they're like, oh my God, it's saved.
Right.
Like, no, like the
Yeah.
overall quality is like on a downward trend, sure,
Right.
but it's not completely dead. It's not completely alive. It's still like it's just lesser quality, just because of how good Phase 3 was. That's it.
That is a good point.
Yeah,
Like
we
phase
reached peak
four.
and it's on the downhill. It's going downhill now. That's just bound to happen.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I mean, because I think they just recently Avengers 5 was gonna be the Kang Dynasty.
Mhm.
They kept that on their website for a while, even after dropping Jonathan Majors. And I think they just changed it just to be called Avengers 5.
Mhm.
People are theorizing like, what are they gonna do? Are they still gonna do Kang? Like people are discussing like, oh, who should we like recast him as? But
Me,
th-
give
you'd
me
be
the
great. You'd
job.
be a great Kang. But they could just do an Avengers versus X-Men movie, which is in the
Yeah.
comics. Just it would lead into Secret Wars quite nicely because the 2016 also in the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, you see the Secret Wars comic on the floor
Hmm.
when he's on that planet or that realm
Hmm.
battle world, I guess, which he could be reading that to like do research.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it is him like gathering all the best
Yeah,
versions of each character, and then that's him kind of making a team to protect his
right.
specific universe or that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the fucking what was I gonna say? The Secret Wars of 2015, 2016, whatever, the Jonathan Hickman, I think, one.
Hmm.
Prior to the actual Secret Wars event, it is the Marvel 616 universe in an incursion with the Ultimates universe. So they're both fighting each other. They're
Hmm.
both trying to destroy the other universe. They're both trying to figure out a way to save their own universe. Make Avengers 5, X-Men versus Avengers. There's an incursion happening between the Fox Marvel universe and the MCU universe.
Hmm.
End it with they both get destroyed, then it's Secret Wars. So
That'd be
that's
cool.
what I would do. Even though I don't know. I was gonna say I like the Ultimate Universe. I wish we got to the point where we could see that because it would be pretty interesting
Hmm.
to see like versions of the same character fighting each other like brutally because they have to save their universe. But and I think it's not going to happen because Avengers 5 comes out next year, right? Or is it 2026 now?
They might have pushed it back, but I don't know
I
for
think they
sure.
should have. I think they did, and they probably were smart too. But if we built up, we don't have time to do this, but yeah, build up the X-Men universe, build up, establish the new Fantastic Four, make them a pivotal role in that incursion event. I think I pitched you once my idea for a Fantastic Four movie, which isn't great as like a first movie for them, but like start the movie with a Fantastic Four origin story. They get
Hmm.
their powers immediately, an incursion destroys that universe. Cut to like a sweaty, stressed out Reed Richards, like trying to figure out how to stop the incursions. And the
Hmm.
entire movie is just like an uncut gems level of like tension. It's just a breakneck pace where he and like the Fantastic Four are doing all they can to figure out how to save their universe or save the multiverse. They team up with Doctor Doom begrudgingly because like they're both pretty good,
Hmm.
pretty smart. They figure out something at the very end. Doctor Doom takes control over it all. I don't think we're gonna get that because it wouldn't be a good first entry for that superhero team in the MCU. We're probably gonna get like a fun
I
one
don't know.
first.
I'd accept
I
it.
would
I
too.
I think that or like literally just having them stranded in the negative zone. Like
Right.
no
Well,
introduction. We don't need to know how they got their powers. They're just stranded there
oh yeah, I
fighting
don't
for their
think they
life,
should
and then
do
they just
a
need to figure it out.
they shouldn't do a origin thing. The
No.
only reason I said it because I think it'd be very interesting and it would feed into the narrative that I came up with, I guess, that the incursions are happening. So we see the
Hmm.
origin, and it could even be like the John Krasinski version, like Emily Blunt and like just whoever else. It could be the
Hmm.
original four from the 2000s movie. We see their origin, and then an incursion happens, and then it cuts to the mainline one, and then we watch from there on. I think it would just be a narrative tool to demonstrate what's going on, how it's happening, the like speed at which it's happening, and how much of a threat the incursions are.
Yeah, which I like that because I don't think we've really gotten to that point of like incursion level danger. Like they mentioned it
No,
briefly in Multiverse of Madness,
I
but it
don't
really
think it's
wasn't
much of
that
a problem.
bad.
It
No,
seems like
they
it's
haven't made
fine.
that clear. Like
Yeah,
Loki's probably the closest, but I don't know if they're kind of like, oh, this is an incursion. It was just universes dying.
right. And what they could also do if okay, going off this like plot line that we came up with, In the Secret Wars comics, Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange team up to go find the source of what's causing the incursions, and then they do, and then they take that power, and then they create Battle World. So
Mm.
we could have from one side, like the MCU universe, we have Doctor Strange, and then from the Fox universe, we have Doctor Doom. And while they're like the other characters are individually trying to figure out how to save their own universe or save the multiverse, like the Avengers are fighting the X-Men in Fantastic Four. Like the B plot is Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange like flying through the universe on like their time platform trying to figure out what's causing this. Then they do, and at the end of the movie, they steal the power. And in the comics, Doctor Strange says he doesn't want the responsibility. He thinks Doom would be better with it because he's an idiot. So they could do a similar thing in the MCU. Or maybe Doctor Strange realizes like, oh shit, like I've met many versions of myself and they're all assholes.
Pretty
They
bad.
they got corrupted by power, so I don't think I'm the right one to do this. And because he doesn't know Doctor Doom very well, all he knows is that there's this guy who he might think is like the parallel to him, the only one who has figured out, you know, a back door into stopping this thing. They team up and then he gives it to Doom, and Doom creates Battle World.
Yeah, Doom goes crazy. Not even crazy.
Yeah.
He's just
or
like,
reveals
F
he's
you
crazy.
guys.
I was
Yeah.
crazy, he can say. I was crazy all along. And then it cuts to the Agatha
Crazy.
All Along song.
I was
but
crazy
it's
once.
Doom.
And then Agatha, the TV show starts.
Yeah, but I don't know what they're gonna do, man. Like, I am excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. Looks
Same.
fun, looks cool. I imagine the plot's not gonna be. I mean, they did say it's gonna be the most important movie for Secret Wars.
Well, then it
so
probably
they
won't
might
be.
already be on Battle. Like maybe the Fox X-Men universe is already on Battle World. It's like their universe has already collapsed and someone already took control, and then we don't see them again until Secret Wars when the MCU goes there and they're like, what the fuck is this? Who is this? But
Isn't the Beyonders the one who made Battleworld, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
you're the original the Secret Wars from like the 80s or 90s. The Beyonder creates Battle World and then grabs a bunch of heroes and villains and makes them fight. I don't like that version very much. It's just kind of nothing. The Beyonder does play a role in the 2015, 2016 one as well. I think they steal the power from the Beyonder. And they're also hanging out with Molecule Man.
Oh, he's a homie.
Yeah. Because,
Okay.
oh God, I'm going to butcher this. But in the Secret Wars comics, Molecule Man exists in every universe at once, I think. Like one version, like he's just crazy because it's just too much. So he's just kind of like...
So it's like that one lady from Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Jobu Tabaki, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of at that. And so he is also just as powerful as the Beyonder, and he helps them create Battle World, or helps Doom create Battle World. But I think they steal power from the Beyonder coupled with Molecule Man, and then they create one last universe. But
I doubt that lasted long.
no, I mean, it lasted a while.
There's
Until
always
the
the one last universe thing, and then
Yeah.
10 million more.
Well, until the end of that storyline when Reed Richards tricks Doctor Doom into giving him the power. They're fist fighting in front of
They're having fisticuffs.
Molecule Man. Yeah, they're fighting each other in front of Molecule Man, who, because Reed Richards brought Molecule Man a snack, Molecule Man took away Doom's powers for a bit. So they're just fist fighting each other. And the winner of that gets control of everything, and Reed Richards just tricks Doctor Doom into saying, like, I would have done better. And then Doom's like, of course you would have done better, but I'm the one who did it. And then the Molecule Man hears that and goes, okay, and then gives Reed Richards the power. And then combined with Reed Richards with his son Franklin Richards, because Franklin Richards can create realities, and he's like a super creative little dude. So he creates realities. I think Reed Richards with the Beyonder power like seeds that universe, and then he throws it out into the multiverse. So they just rebuild the multiverse. But apparently the Fantastic Four casting, I think it's great. But in that Valentine's Day thing, the Thing is reading a Time magazine, and it's a real one from like the 1963, I think. So people are pretty sure that movie is going to be set in 1963.
Which that they have to come up with some reason that they haven't been here the entire time, and they can't just the Eternals it where they're like, oh, they weren't supposed to intervene. So
I mean,
I think
what
end with something happening to them, just getting teleported to somewhere.
But yeah, they're gonna disappear at the end.
Yeah,
they're gonna be
get snapped away from the snap that happened 30 years later.
Yeah, they're either gonna go into the negative zone, they're gonna disappear into the universe just to do
Hmm.
science shit. They're gonna go to another multiverse. Maybe the TVA is gonna grab them, or someone's gonna grab them,
Hmm.
but
Deadpool.
I don't even know if it's gonna be set in the MCU. It might though, because
That's true. It doesn't have to be in that.
yeah, the Fantastic Four are like celebrities in the comics at least. Like everyone loves them, everyone knows them. I feel
Hmm.
like if there was a superpowered team in the 60s, someone would have brought them up during the MCU.
That's also a good point.
So it
Yeah.
might be set in their own universe. It might be set like in the Fox one, even though we've seen many Fantastic Fours, not many, like two or three. But
We've seen two. One of them was pretty solid. The other one was shit.
yeah.
So on average.
There is a rumor that Miles Teller's Fantastic Four, that's not his name, Miles Teller's Reed Richards is going to be the next Kang, basically, because as of right now, there's an ultimate storyline, sort of, where that version of Reed Richards, who I think goes by the Maker, because
Hmm.
he's evil and
Hmm.
crazy. He's going around fucking with timelines because he's really upset because his timeline sucks. So he's going around and he like makes it so Peter Parker never gets bit by a spider. He like is just messing with things. So they could like that could be a villain in the Fantastic Four movie or later on
I
where
think that'd be really funny.
yeah.
Because people would love to hate them because, they suck.
I mean that what's gonna happen is we're gonna see the new Fantastic Four movie and then people are gonna be like, this is not as good as the Miles Teller one. I love that movie. Nostalgia, even though that movie sucks. But yeah, they could make it so like that version of Reed Richards finds out about the multiverse. He's going around messing with it and like
Hmm.
controlling it because his Fantastic Four movie sucks. And he's like, well, why does everyone else get like fun, vibrant, colorful universes? And mine was like some weird shit hellscape.
Yeah, have
Like,
have Deadpool show up and just insult him and like explain to him what's going on and then be like,
yeah,
your movie horrible, and then
no one
leave.
liked it. It's
And then that's what
notoriously the worst superhero movie of all time
until now.
until Madam
Perfect
Web.
segue into Madam Web.
Are you gonna watch it?
No,
Okay.
maybe eventually. I currently can't even use Disney Plus, so if it comes on Disney
It's not
Plus,
gonna go to. It's gonna go to like I think Amazon. I think Sony and Amazon have a deal right now.
oh, well then I could watch it. But as
Don't
of
though.
now,
It's
I'm not spending money to
all right.
see
I'm gonna
that.
tell you a bunch of things that happen in this movie. One of them is not true, and you have to guess which one isn't true. Are you ready?
Okay, that one.
Okay. I have to. I
You
should
have
have
to change
prepared.
the order, don't you?
Well, I haven't. I don't have an order. I haven't even thought of this yet.
Yeah.
Shit. Madam Web was born because when her mom was pregnant, she got bit by a spider. That's how she got her powers.
I know her mom was studying spiders.
With Ezekiel Sims.
Yes.
A central plot point is the NSA.
NSA?
Yeah, the governmental agency that is tracking everyone's phones and computers and telephone, not telephones, and like cameras and shit. There's a central plot
Yeah.
point revolving around the NSA.
I don't think you would randomly bring up the NSA if it
You don't
wasn't.
know. You don't know.
Yeah, maybe you're really
Um,
against them and you're like,
Madam Web creates three ghost versions of herself, and then she gets punched by Ezekiel Sims, and it stops. Ezekiel Sims gets killed by a Pepsi sign. Madam Web gets hit in the face by a flaming ball, and that's what blinds her. And she also gets paralyzed somehow in that situation too.
okay.
Twice, Madam Web hits the evil Spider-Man with a car.
Okay.
Another plot point in this movie is Mary Parker, Peter Parker's mom,
Hmm.
is pregnant with him, and they're talking about what they're gonna name him, but
And
they
is
never
played
actually,
by
but
Emma
they,
Roberts.
but they never actually name him.
What do you think they're gonna name him?
I don't know. There's no way to know.
Do you
They
think they're naming
play.
him Peter after the Deadpool character?
Oh, probably.
What
There's
is it, Peter?
also, yeah,
Cool.
Rob Delaney. There's also a scene where, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. The entire movie, Richard Parker, Peter Parker's father, is in like Japan. We don't meet him. And when Mary Parker gives birth, which she does, he's in Japan, which is strange to me. Why? Like, it's Uncle Ben and Spider-Man's mom were there at his birth, but no one else.
Oh.
What else happens? Or
So
doesn't happen?
you see the birth in the movie?
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
No, you see, I think you see either you hear about the fact that she just gave birth or you
Mm.
actually see the baby. Can't remember,
Mhm.
even though I saw it like 3 days ago. Madam Web gets in trouble for kidnapping three teenage girls.
That would make sense. I know there's three teenage girls. One of them is
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney.
At one point they're at a diner and Madam Web is elsewhere. They're at a diner and the three teenage girls get up on a table and then dance to the song Toxic by Britney Spears, I
I
think.
Can't blame them. That song's a banger.
At one point, Madam Web just leaves the three girls and then goes to Peru for a bit.
And that's where she learns that her mother
Yeah. Well, sure you knew that.
researched spiders.
There's an
Oh,
entire civilization of Spider-Men, like an
oh,
entire like native tribe in Peru that are Spider-Man people. Which of those do you think isn't true?
I don't remember most of them.
They were all true.
They were all, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to guess. Like each time I was listening to them, I'm like, this seems real. It's too like
It's
specific.
a really. Do you want to hear this spiteful thing I wrote afterwards? It's like a
Yes.
spoken word poem.
Oh, I would love to hear
I
that
haven't
performed.
finished it, and I was
No.
gonna upload it as like a movie review, but I haven't yet. And maybe I'll just cut this out and then read it, or I'll cut this out and upload it. But
Mhm.
yeah, so again, not finished, not even like proofread, but there is a weird, forced, artificial earnestness weaved into this mess of a movie. It felt like the movie within a TV show where the characters with actual depth are cast in a high budget movie. It made me think of what it would be like to see the cartoonish characters in 30 Rock cast in a blockbuster. It
Hmm.
reminded me of The Boys when we saw part of their movie Dawn of the Seven, except within that show, the movie we see is a distilled version of the superhero genre, focusing on the cliche saccharine plots and dry line delivery of poorly written dialogue. It's a parody of the rote, mindless, by the numbers narratives that permeate the movie industry. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I adore the superhero genre, so believe me when I say that I don't believe all end products end this way. But when a genre becomes so well defined and saturated in its success, it becomes recognizably formulaic. Studios begin to churn out more and more of what is perceived to have created that success. It's capitalizing on what is it is capitalizing on what is deemed safe. The audience knows and can see the established tropes of the genre, which is why it's so amusing to see it poked fun of in The Dawn of the Seven. A genre that was once passionately driven by creatives and love for the characters becomes co-opted by money-hungry studios that don't understand why something is successful. We start to get boring, predictable movies. We're given movies that look and feel cheap. We're given the end result of creative bankruptcy. We're given Madam Web. So
Damn, dude. I liked
it
that. That was
is
good.
like, I don't know. People are saying it's the worst movie ever made. It's not, but it's in the conversation.
Okay. Well, that's impressive on its own. Would you say
Yeah.
it's worse than Fan Four Stick?
I didn't finish Fan Four Stick.
We were forced to finish Madam Web because you were in a
I was
theater.
physically there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Madam Web is probably worse than every other superhero movie because of the fact like it is like studio created to be this generic fucking superhero thing, pandering to the audience to be like, "Oh, you like this. You like
Mhm.
this sort of thing." We
I don't
didn't
think
put any
Sony
effort in this.
understands anything.
No, they understand video games somehow. They understand Spider-Verse. But I
Yeah,
think Spider-Verse is a
they're great
fluke.
at animating.
I think
Like that team is
yeah.
phenomenal.
I think
Them
it's a
making
fluke that they're making great Spider-Verse movies. I think it's the creatives and the team involved, but
yeah,
they've
it's not Sony. It's that
no,
specific team working on it or understand the character insanely well. And
and they've
then
greenlit a bunch of, and this is the deal they have with Amazon. They're creating a bunch of TV shows on Amazon Prime about
Mhm.
Spider-Man characters, and I think it's like some of them at least are spin-offs of Spider-Verse, but I bet they're
Oh,
going to be dog shit unless they're created by the same people. Like Sony just doesn't know what they're doing.
no, 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 no. They do not.
But
And
like
that's frustrating as hell. None of these I've not been excited for a single movie that they've been making, so I
I was
don't
excited for
care.
Morbius. I wasn't excited. No
No, I
one
like
was.
I like the memes for it, but like I just the characters they're picking. Madam Web at least makes sense. I can understand them wanting to make a movie for
I
that character
can't.
because at least
Like,
it's like here's a female centric Spider-Man movie. Like that makes
yeah, but
sense.
you could have done Spider-Woman or like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
but like
See,
Morbius, no sense. No one's like, oh, let's put Jared Leto in a
right?
movie. No one says that anymore.
I
Terrible
guess
choice.
if I have to compliment this movie, Madam Web, I'd say it's a like Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies, SPUM, is giving us movies about characters that we would have probably never seen otherwise,
Mhm.
which we might have seen, a version of Madam Web down the line in this Tom Holland version, but
Yeah,
she would have been a minor character. She would not have been the focus. We would have seen Venom, of course. We probably
we
would have
probably would have
seen
seen
Craven.
Morbius
I don't
or
think we would
yeah.
have. I don't know
I
why
think
the
I think he'd be a very very small character, like in a Blade movie or something.
Oh yeah, maybe like, but not in
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like they just wouldn't have ever given these characters the screen time and like story behind
Mhm.
them. But that being said, the stories are nothing. Like,
Yeah, you're not doing anything with them.
yeah. And I told you this over text, but in terms of the villain in Madam Web, first of all, there are so many ADR lines that are super weird. Like they clearly did not have enough that they filmed to make it make any sense. It doesn't make any sense anyways. So they just had someone in the background go, like, there's a scene where Madam Web is traveling back in time to see her birth and like
Oh.
and see her mom pregnant with her, and the mom's at the doctor, and they're saying, "Hey, sorry, Mrs. Madam Web, mommy Madam Web, your daughter is gonna be like disabled." And then she goes like, and then we hear modern day Madam Web, Dakota Johnson or whatever, say, "But I'm not disabled." Yeah, we get it. We get it, man. Like, we understand the line of scenes in the movie where we see that scene, then we see her go to the Amazon to get bit by a spider to save you. Like, you didn't need to have that line. And it was clearly ADR'd. It just doesn't make any sense. But I was saying to you over text, like, the villain, I like the idea of a crazy Spider-Man because there would be one. We've seen crazy Supermen. There are like three examples right now, two examples, I guess. Omni-Man and Homelander.
Yeah, and
Like
then
that's
Injustice.
yeah.
That's
There's a
less
lot,
prevalent, I guess, now.
and yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot more too. Like that's a very common kind of response to the Superman character. I'd be interested to see like a Spider-Man that just fucking murders people.
Hmm.
Like it'd be an interesting twist because I don't know. But they should have started this movie with Madam Web kidnapping the three teens. And like in the background, we see the evil Spider-Man, Ezekiel Sims, in costume, like trying to get the girls, which is what he's doing because he had a dream once that he was killed by them. So he used the
Hmm.
NSA to find where they live or find where they are and then kill them. Start the movie with that. Madam Web steals these girls. We think, oh shit, like that was Spider-Man. He was trying to save them. What's going on? Find out later. Like she's not revealing what's going on to the three characters. They're terrified, they're confused.
Hmm.
And then later on we have the diner scene where Spider-Man walks in and we're like, "Oh, like he's going to save them." Then
Hmm.
he just fucking murks everyone. And then we're like, "Wait a minute, what?" And then it cuts back to Madam Web like prior because it's like a
Hmm.
time loop movie essentially. If she
Well, because she
dies,
can
she
see the
gets
future and stuff or something, right?
sort of.
Okay.
She yes, but like kind of. So like just cut back to like start the movie that way and then this Spider-Man shows up, kills her, kills the girls, and we're like what is happening? Then cut back. Like she's sent back in time to like a few days later and then we understand like what she's trying to do.
Hmm.
Would have been good, really. Would have been better though, I'd say. But
You should work at Sony. Do you think
yeah,
I could apply for a different job and then get rejected? And then in my rejection email,
you're
I'll
like,
answer it
"Hey,
and be like, "Hey, I got a
we
guy
got
for you."
someone who's wants to work on Madam Web too."
The Morbius.
Yeah. And then another compliment, I guess. The costumes when we see the three Spider Women are really
Mhm.
great, but we see it in total for like 30 seconds. Because first time it's in Ezekiel Sims's dream. Second time it's in Dakota Johnson saying, like, I'm looking into the future and I'm seeing us do this. And then it's like it shows them each fighting crime. But what I thought
Mhm.
was funny is they show each of the three Spider Women beating up someone, but they're not like super villains. They're just normal guys. And they're just beating the shit out of them, which I was like, that's hilarious. They could have
That
put
is
in
funny.
like, I don't know, they could have
Cool
like,
nods to some supervillains. Yeah.
yeah, or like done it so like they have like, high tech weapons or something. But no, it's just a guy like holding a bag because he just stole something. Then he just like someone just beats the shit out of them.
Oh my God. Wow.
Uh,
I now want to see this movie. I want to see if it's at the drive-in.
I bet it isn't. I admire the restraint because I would have bet my bottom dollar that this movie would have ended with Mary Parker, Emma Roberts giving birth, and then Madam Web or someone goes, "What are you going to name it?" And then she goes, "Peter Parker." And then it cuts to black. I would have bet money that was how it was going to end, but it didn't. So,
I am disappointed, actually. I wanted to end like that.
yeah. Did you know that they made this movie? Sony did this as set in the Tom Holland universe. So
Hmm.
the MCU. Then they realized that makes no sense. So they tried to set it in the Andrew Garfield universe, but
Hmm.
then they realized that makes no sense. So now it's just not set anywhere. Also, it's set in like whenever Toxic came out because they mentioned like, oh, this is a new hit song. It's going to be huge. Let me look up when that came out. Toxic song release
Like
date
2000s, early 2000s.
2004.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Tom Holland was born, trying to do the math,
In
he'd be a
2004.
he'd be
He'd be
he'd be
Breckman's age
he'd be 13
or not.
during the time of Civil War, right? So that came out 2016. He'd be 12.
Yeah, he'd be 12
He'd be
slash
12 years old.
11.
So it doesn't really make sense.
He grows fast.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah,
was,
no,
I
that
think,
doesn't work.
4 months early or something.
Maybe in this universe, Toxic by Britney Spears came out
Earlier.
little earlier.
Maybe. What an awesome movie. What a great time I had at that
Yeah, it's
movie.
at the drive-in with Argyle. I could go
Oh, I've heard Argyle's
wanna
really bad. You should go
yeah,
see both.
I could go see both and wanna die for however long that would take.
Which one's first?
Madam Web.
Okay, then you'll probably think Argyle's great in comparison.
Yeah, I mean I can enjoy Henry Cavill.
Yeah. And like I told you over text, like all these superhero action scenes, aside from the very short one in the dream sequence,
Mhm.
it's Madam Web driving a car, like away from him. And at one point, she drives an ambulance through a building and cracks that Spider. Like, so Ben Parker is driving the three teens and
Mhm.
Mary Parker, who's about to give birth to the hospital, right? They're driving down the highway. Ezekiel Sims makes it so all the green lights are going so that it's like a traffic jam. And then he's standing on the car, and then Madam Web drives an ambulance through a building onto the car with a woman about to give birth and hits Ezekiel Sims in the face. And she does that twice.
Oh my God.
Every character has one trait. Like each of the
And hers is
teens,
hitting people with cars.
yes. Like Ezekiel Sims' one character trait is he's evil.
Mm.
The three teens, one of them really likes math and science. One of them is like a rebel with a skateboard, and one of them is an awkward.
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney's character is like an awkward, like shy girl,
Huh.
and that's all they get for like that's all the growth those characters have.
Is they
And then
just are that. They don't
yeah,
even
that
change.
that is what no, they don't change. I guess they start to like each other, but
Yeah, I mean, I
holy
guess they don't
shit,
necessarily have to change, but at least put more death into them.
yeah,
Depth, not death. I
kill
gotta
them.
pronounce that P the P better.
Pronounce
Because I
that
was,
P.
yeah, because
The
I did
catchphrase.
the same thing. I was talking to someone and I said depth jumps, where
Yeah,
like you're starting in the box and jump really quickly,
yeah.
And they thought I was calling it death jumps. And they're just like, wow, he's really emo about this thing. He must really hate them.
Do you have any questions about Madam Web that I can answer for you?
I don't. I watched a Captain Midnight video before this.
Was it good? Or what was the
It was
video
solid.
good?
Yeah, yeah. The video was solid. It mentioned a lot of the same stuff that you mentioned. So
Okay,
you have the exact same opinion as Captain Midnight. Congratulations.
thank you. I don't know. I like it's really fucking bad.
Mhm.
There's no but there.
Yeah.
I thought there might be. When people are like, "Oh, fucking like Marvel's dead," like the Marvels sucked. The Marvels I thought was a lot of fun. I really liked it. If you
I
don't
can't
like
even
the
watch it.
Marvels, that's fine. That's fine. If you don't like the Marvels, that's fine. But like Madam Web is the kind of shit that I hate because it's just soulless, toothless, like corporate propaganda. Not even propaganda. Just like
Do you think Sony's trying to ruin superhero movies so that they can
no.
get Spider-Man back?
I think Sony thinks that superhero movies are still making tons of money and they're just trying to, get in and make money. But like what's gonna kill the superhero movie genre
Mhm.
is a combination of movies like this and then movies that are just super average. Because if we get a bunch
That's
of
kind of what we're going towards,
yeah,
which sucks.
but if we get a bunch of like Sony spum terrible movies and we have no frame of reference to compare it to, like if
Mhm.
that came out and then, this week Guardians 3 came out, you'd be like, oh, well, one of those is great, one is terrible. You'd be like, I don't think that the genre is terrible. Because you
Mhm.
have something to look at, be like, oh, that was actually good. But if we get Madam Web and then we get like a bunch of average ones, the average fan or the average consumer is going to look at that and think to themselves like, oh, well, this isn't a genre I enjoy because it's either like average and okay or it's terrible,
Mhm.
which we are, like you said, we are just getting average movies for the most part, plus the occasional dog shit one.
Yeah, and like there obviously are still good ones, but
Well,
they
yeah,
just
there are exceptions. We had, I'd say, three last year that I
we had
saw.
arguably one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Yeah, the Marvels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that with that Guardians was incredible. I haven't seen the Marvels. I've tried.
I
Disney
haven't
Plus is
seen
still
Blue
screwed up for me.
Beetle or Ninja Turtles yet.
Yeah, but those are both probably good. And that's more
Yeah.
solid movies than worse than bad movies, I think.
Yeah.
The
I don't know.
Batman was incredible. I know that was
I
2 years ago.
I think 2024 is the first year since maybe 2008 where Marvel Studios isn't releasing the most superhero movies. Because we're getting one from Marvel Studios this year. We're
Is
getting
it
zero.
only Deadpool?
It's only Deadpool 3 and Wolverine.
Oh
We're not
wow.
getting any DC movies, but we're getting three Spum movies. We're getting Madam
What are the
Web,
other two? There's Craven. Oh yeah, Madam
Craven,
Web's
Kraven
out.
the Hunter, and
Yeah.
Venom 3 is set to release in like October, maybe, or maybe like December. So this might be the year that kills the genre. It
When
won't.
is Batman 2? When does that come out? Next year?
They just started filming, I think.
Oh
So
shit. Why did I think they were further into that process?
I think they were about to start filming before the writer's strike and actor strike. They might
Okay.
be closer than I think, but I think it's next year at the earliest. But yeah, we're not getting any DC movies until next year. We're getting Superman Legacy.
hmm
Yeah. So everybody, it's gonna be a really bad year for this podcast because what are we gonna talk about?
One thing I'm curious about, and this was a plot point in Barry season 4, I think,
I think it's pronounced
but
Bari season 4.
Barry.
Bari.
No, but
Oh,
is corporations are like we talked about at the beginning of this, so we're bringing it full circle. You're welcome.
thank you.
About like AI and that kind of stuff. And one thing
Right.
I'm curious is they're like companies, corporations are starting to rely on algorithms to tell them why people liked movies or what is appealing.
Okay.
So then when a movie does well, they like will use algorithms to see why it does well and then use that algorithm when creating the next movie. And they'll force that movie to fit that framework instead of
Right.
just allowing it to be creative and be its own thing. And in doing so, they are misrepresenting why we actually like said movie.
Okay, that's
Because a lot of
interesting.
times when you're doing this kind of like modeling and you have to like take measurements about the movie that they liked, and that is an extremely restricting thing because how are you going to represent how the
Right.
data is represented for a movie, like what genre it is, like those stuff you could do, but
Yeah.
then maybe like the right, like how are you going to represent who wrote it, how it was written, how the dialogue, the actors, all this stuff,
Right.
and
I
how they
guess they
fit with
could.
those characters. Like it's too complicated, I feel like, to accurately represent.
I guess they could take transcripts of every single review of the movie and then find keywords that fit in both all the reviews that say it's good versus all the reviews that say it's bad, and then go from there. But again, that's not enough
Yeah, like I
to.
don't, you can't capture a movie like that, I feel like, in a
Right.
model. And I'm not that like, I obviously I don't know for sure if they're doing this, but I feel like the fact that they have become more and more like these generic things, because obviously Marvel's had a framework for their movies for a bit,
Yeah.
but they at least allowed some creativity. But now I feel like they're kind of, I don't know what's going on, you know? Like they're trying to go too far into specific elements of it. And I like maybe Sony's doing that kind of thing too, where they're looking at it, they have this thing that tells them, oh, this is what makes a good movie. And
Well,
then
yeah, I mean, I'd say with
they
Madam Web, like all the parts of what people like in a superhero movie are there,
Mhm.
sort of.
Yeah, but they don't understand
No,
what
yeah,
makes it
they just
work. They
put
just
the
have
parts
the
in
elements.
there, but they didn't actually do anything with them. Like, because I think, I mean, anything can be good in the right hands. Like this Madam Web movie could have been great if someone
Mhm.
knew how to write and wrote it. And like the act, like I don't blame any writer, any actors in the movie. I mean, everyone's fucking terrible in it. Dakota Johnson says something in a like she's just being mean about the movie, which good
Mhm.
for her. But she said something about working with blue screen, and she was like, first of all, blue screen is like just say green screen. Like I
No,
know
I think
they
they
do,
are.
I know they use blue screens, but people like I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't matter. I'm being nitpicky. But she said like working with blue screen, like you have no idea what you're like acting against. And she was like, I have no idea if this movie's good or not. And in watching the movie, I'm like, the reason it's bad isn't because of blue screen. Like the dialogue doesn't work. Like the
Yeah, it's
character dynamics
everything.
don't work. Yeah. And obviously, like as an actor, I imagine it is difficult to act against nothing. And some people do it better than others. Some people do it worse than others.
Mhm.
So I'm not discrediting her and feeling like, well, I don't know if I was doing a good job acting in this movie, but no one really could have sold these lines, sold anything. But
Yeah, from what I've heard, they did not give them any favors, which
no,
at that point, what do you do? Like,
yeah. And everyone in the movie, like, I don't know all the actors. Like, the only one I thought was like, oh, this is like, it felt like a real-ish person was Adam Scott as Ben
I
Parker.
love Adam Scott.
He's just like, because he's just a really good actor. Not to
Yeah.
say that the other people aren't, but, and also he wasn't like, his lines weren't about, or like, he wasn't faced off against a green screen or talking to
Mhm.
like nothing. So, like, it makes sense that his would kind of land better. But,
Have
oh
you seen
man.
Severance?
No, I was thinking about it while I was watching Madam Web. I was
You
like, I
need to
should just
watch it,
watch
dude.
Severance. I should leave and watch Severance.
You should. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
finish Fargo. I would say
No.
Fargo's better. So I'm at it. I might add Severance to my one list.
Are your objectively best
Yeah.
list? I've been ever since we had that conversation, I've been like, I can't sleep because my brain's just like trying to figure out how
It's
something can be
difficult.
objective.
Yeah.
I might make a video and I wanted to warn you before I did about like, because I don't want it to sound like I'm, being offensive or like making fun of you for making this list, but I'm like, I want to make a video regarding like, can a movie or TV show be objectively good or bad?
Hmm.
Because I think it can, but I don't know how, or it
No,
can't.
that makes sense because I'm making this,
Yeah,
and it's impossible for me to like remove bias
yeah.
completely. So like I have Dark at number one. I will not move Dark from number one.
Even though I think you should.
Yeah, then there's going to be people who are like, well, that you're being biased. Like Breaking Bad is much better. And
Well,
I'll
hold
sit here
on.
and tell you, no, it is not. And I can't be 100% like not biased. So I kind of agree what you're saying. But in my head, it's kind of a situation. And we talked about this last time where something you can recognize that something's better, but it
Right.
isn't your favorite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one.
And I think that's kind of my central focus on it is just saying, oh, this is what I would actually put in just all of its characteristics, how well it was made, how well it's
Right.
acted, how well the story is, all those kind of stuff, and
And that
trying to remove just, oh, it's my favorite.
that is one thing that, because like in order for a movie to be objectively good,
Hmm.
the amount of criteria, the amount of things that need to work, like things that need to function for that movie to be objectively good, it's like
Hmm.
innumerable almost, like acting, like writing, like score, cinematography, directing. All these things need to, like, there's an objective sense. Theoretically, there's an objective sense in nature to each of those elements. So for something to be objectively the best, theoretically they'd be objectively good in all of those categories.
Hmm.
But
But
like
how do you rate those kind of things and
exactly, because like
measure
you
them?
need, yeah, that's why on one hand I was like, I don't know if you can objectively, or I don't know if a movie can objectively be good or bad. But then I see Madam Web and I'm like, no, this is objectively bad. It's like when you see it, you can tell, like
Yeah.
but I just don't know. Like I was doing research on like the definition of objectivity just so I can like, gather my bearings. But what I have is like it generally refers to the idea that knowledge or reality exists independently of individual perceptions or biases.
Hmm.
And if there are objective truths or facts, they can be known or discovered, often independent of personal feelings or opinions. Yeah. And then hold on,
As
there's another
a
one.
philosophy professor,
Yeah. These are philosophical definitions, by the way, that I have
well,
written down.
that's what I was curious about. So you have I feel like you have a better grasp of logic and semantics than I do
Yeah,
when it comes
probably,
to a lot of
maybe.
that kind of stuff. And I think it would be interesting if we combined our brain power. Now, if we worked together, because I don't think that this would be effective, especially talking about how I don't like how people might be just using algorithms to try to make stuff.
Right.
But we could probably try to create a model that can measure whether or not something is objectively a good or bad movie. And not with the I guess intention of trying to just label
Right.
these things.
Yeah.
Like, because it doesn't matter, but I think it
No,
would be fun practice, like a fun thing to work. Because
I
one
agree.
way, if we could create a good way to measure stuff, and even like I'm doing my senior project on fuzzy logic. I told you about that.
Right.
That's meant to use uncertain definitions to create a model that could like recognize this. So one of these things is we could say like we look at the cinematography and we're like, oh yeah,
Right.
it's kind of good. We can use that sentence. We can use kind of good to create like we can use it. Is essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's called like computing with words. We don't have to say like, oh, it's good or bad. We can
Right.
use these intermediate like literal words
Yeah, we can
and
remove
create
the
the model with
binary
it.
nature of
Yeah.
okay.
And I think that would be a good kind of like thing to work on just
No,
for fun.
we should work on that because then we either might come up empty-handed or we'd come up with something. Because
Yeah,
one
and
thing I'm
regardless, it's
confused about or worried about is like, so let's say we do make this model,
Mhm.
and I was thinking about this the other day, but like I was like, okay, can you create like an algorithm or AI that can measure something objectively? Maybe, but like if we're having a look at Madam Web versus
Mhm.
fucking the hell is that?
Mhm.
If we're having an AI compare Madam Web to like Oppenheimer, right? One of
Mhm.
those is objectively better than the other.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I do know why, but I don't know necessarily the nuances as to why. And we're telling an AI to compare the two. We'd have to tell it the criteria. And if
Mhm.
we tell it the criteria, that is immediately a bias.
Yeah, and
That
that's
is my bias that I'm putting into it. And it can work with that bias, but I don't know how I can remove that bias for myself in order to create the criteria of it. Because as soon as I look at a movie,
Mhm.
I observe the movie because I guess objectivity in part has to do with like, I guess if no one is observing it, it still retains that quality.
Mhm.
Like objectively, a triangle will have, three sides, close figure, angles equal 180 degrees or whatever.
Mhm.
no matter what kind of triangle, no matter where it is in the world, no matter who's looking at it, it will have those qualities. But so we'd have to find a conceptual criteria that must be the case for a movie to be objectively good.
Yeah. And
Because,
one,
oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
you can finish up.
I was gonna say, because if that triangle was like, let's say blue,
Mhm.
like I mean, it is objectively blue, but like, what if I don't like blue and I don't like that triangle? That's where like my own biases come into play, or I don't know.
Yeah, and whether or not you like an individual person likes the movie will not like wouldn't be represented because it's not
Right.
you personally. It is using these defined characteristics. This is what how this movie is on like a scale like 0 to 1, like whatever. But how a lot of fuzzy logic systems work, from my understanding, I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form, is we'd create fuzzy rules, which are essentially just saying if blank, then blank. So let's say if story is good, then movie is good. Like very basic one.
Right. Okay.
And you'd create all these rules, and then you'd convert the data we take, which would just be like the sentences or whatever. So like it's kind of good, it's kind of that kind of stuff. You convert these into fuzzy sets, which then you use the fuzzy rules to determine the output. But the fuzzy rules, which is the if then statements, which is the essential part, we would not be making.
Right.
Accurately, it would be made by experts, so like actual movie film critics who
What
maybe
do you
like
mean
learned
actual
this.
film critics? But you're right.
Yeah, that's you know what I mean. Yeah, like that kind of thing. Like more people who are deemed experts, even though we're incredibly
We're deemed
intelligent.
experts
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
That
feel
that kind
like
of situation. Like it wouldn't remove there wouldn't be our bias, but you're correct where it's 100% dependent on the data it's given and it's
yeah.
trained on. And if that data is bad, then inherently the model would be bad. So it might not be like a good representation, but it'd be like a fun thing to work on.
Yeah. And the reason I think it does exist is because, like, with the negative criteria, we can find something that is objectively bad. Like, an
Mhm.
objectively bad, like, shot in a movie is one that is, like, terrible camera quality,
Mhm.
facing in the ground, doesn't focus on the subject. You can't hear the audio, or if you do, it's muddled.
Mhm.
And like that is objectively worse than something which has like, the subject is in focus, and you can hear the dialogue clearly and crisply. There's
Mhm.
no external, like, you can't hear, like, I don't know, a train going by or something. So like, well, I feel like there is, if an objectively bad thing exists, then there must be a way to find something, or the criteria for what makes it objectively good.
But even I like that example because
I
it
don't know if
also
that's
like
I don't know if that's a perfect example as to what
well
would
because
be objectively bad.
it's a good example for in the moment objectively bad, but then
Right.
it misses context, which maybe makes that first shot that is meant to look worse,
Right.
depending on the context of the movie.
You're right. Fuck.
And then
Okay.
that would kind of like that would make it difficult.
Well, an
Well, it'd be
objectively
difficult to
bad,
begin with.
yeah,
Like
an
I'm
objectively
sure
bad
someone has tried this
song
before.
doesn't have audio, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like saying an objective triangle would have four sides,
Hmm.
because it's just not that thing. So we just have to figure out the criteria for what makes a movie, which again takes into account so many variables.
And a lot of things that we can't measure,
Yeah.
which is the hard
Because
part.
again, I don't think we'd learn this, but we could theoretically find out that an objectively good movie is not one that people like.
Yeah.
Like, it could end up being like Madam Web is objectively the best movie ever made. It won't, but like our reactions to it, like culturally and collectively, are like the opposite of that. This is
Yeah.
okay. We should
Or it's
genuinely
literally
do
what
this,
just yeah, I know it'd be fun.
because this is fascinating to me, and I've been like obsessing over it. We can still do our top 10 objectively best TV shows list. We'll
Hmm.
just, preface it by saying this is not objective, but we're going to say it is.
Yeah, there's no actual objectivity right now.
Yeah. I've
And
also been considering talking to my philosophy pure professor about this, just because I was like, how can I wrap my head around this? But
yeah,
maybe I won't. Maybe I will. I have to give him a goddamn credit.
yeah, but no, that'd be fun. And I'm obviously not an expert in fuzzy logic or deep learning, but it is something I'm very interested in and want to learn more. So this would be good practice for sure.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. I gotta go eat. I've not eaten any food today. I'm gonna pull up Chat GPT. I'll find us an outro.
Oh, sick.
Chat GPT, give me an outro for my podcast titled "Rand and Rhys in the More." Actually, you do it, because then
I do it.
it might be another, like, we both say stuff.
Oh, well, I deleted the earlier one, so
Wow.
it's not, but I'll do that. Um,
This ain't no place for no.
okay. Let me
Be
pull up. I can share the
mine.
screen now. Oh,
Okay, I got it
it's
then.
just one. Okay. Yep.
All right, everybody, this is our official, objectively good outro. Ugh, what was my voice? Thank you for joining us on another lively morning with Rand and Rhys. We hope you've enjoyed diving into today's topics: Madam Web, Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, objective. As we have, remember the conversation doesn't have to end here. Connect with us on social media at Rand and Reese Podcast, not our
Not
real
even true.
handle, to share your thoughts and continue the dialogue. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep shining bright. This is Rand, say and Reese,
And Rhys.
signing off, wishing you a fantastic 4-day ahead. Goodbye for now. All right, so if you
Or
do want to
day.
connect with us, Rand and Reese in the morning on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, most podcatchers, whichever one you use, we probably on there.
Mhm.
We have a YouTube channel called Not Rand. It's my YouTube channel. Reese is just on it mostly. uh I am going to create an email so people actually can reach out to us and tell us stuff if they want. I don't have a Twitter. I do have a Twitter. It's just Not Rand, but I've never used it. And I don't even know if I have the
Mm.
app on my phone. But
You mean an
yeah,
X?
no, I don't. Because I still exist in 2020. I'm caught in
You
time
never
there.
you never left that year.
No. Uh,
Did
what
any
should
of
the
us?
thought baby be today?
I think it should be related to objectivity.
I
Is
was
it
thinking the same
possible
thing.
to be objectively good or bad, or just be purely objective about something like movies?
Right. And if you have any ideas, give us a criteria for what could possibly make a movie objectively good or bad. Not the entire, we don't expect you, unless you can, to crack the entire thing. But if you're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, if the acting is believable, objectively good, but if you can tell that they're acting objectively bad, can't use that example. That was my example. If you have another example, leave a comment or email us at, what should our email be?
Yeah.
I haven't made it yet, but we'll come up with it right now.
I mean,
Oh, Randon Reese in the podcast.com or Randon
Brandon
Reese,
Reese in the email.
Randon Reese in the email at gmail.com. That's what it's going to be.
Cool.
Okay.
And if you want to fund our research, feel free.
Oh, yeah. We have a Patreon at Not Rand. We have on Tumblr, you can give me a tip. Don't do that on Tumblr unless you like my polls for some reason and think I deserve money for them. I
Have you
don't.
done any polls recently? I didn't
Oh,
ask.
yeah. I've got a bunch. We'll do it next week. I've got a ton of
Okay.
them. I've probably done like 50.
Oh shit.
We'll
Yeah.
do a
Okay.
nothing but poll episode. But yeah, if you want to buy me a coffee, there's an app called Buy Me a Coffee. It's like
Is there?
Patreon. Yeah. So you
Oh,
can
that's funny.
fund us there, but also don't if you don't want to, obviously. We're gonna steal this from The Weekly Planet, but they always say like if it falls out of your pocket and you wouldn't notice, like you could donate that. Like
Mhm.
if you
I agree. Yeah.
if in a month you lose $2, like $2 fall out of your pocket and you don't notice that, or you wouldn't notice that, then you could donate it to us. No pressure. Feel free not to. Feel free to give us all your money. We don't care. If you give us all your money by accident, I will refund you. That's a Rand guarantee.
But it has to be proven by accident
Yeah,
in the
you have
court
to
of law.
prove. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not making it easy for you, but you gotta fucking try. I applied for a internship with Stars, the
The movie app?
yeah, the one it's like basically like an HBO kind of.
Mhm.
It's Lionsgate Stars. I think Lionsgate owns it, and I had to upload like some examples of my work, and I know I'm doing this through my school that I teach at. And so I uploaded some like papers I've written, and I was like trying to find a video to upload to show them.
Mhm.
But I was like, I don't know how much I say fucking in each one. So I was gonna do it anyway because like who cares?
Yeah.
Adults
I
say
mean,
cuss words, it's fine. But yeah, I was gonna upload the Tom Cruise one, our Dan Harmon video, the community one from last Monday or whatever.
mhm.
But it just wouldn't upload, so didn't do
Yeah,
that.
that's
But I'll
dumb.
keep you updated, everybody. All
Yeah.
right. Goodbye, farewell. I love to see you well. Goodbye, farewell. I'm gonna end it right now.